Alright everybody, so just to update you all, I have added scene 4 to our dialogue tree sheet. This will be embedded on the Law Bible as well. So, Law Bible, exclamation mark, Law, if anyone wants a quick link to it. It's a very long scene. Like if I zoom out, you'll see exactly how long a scene it is. Yeah, look. So all that you see is main quest 2, but we've still got one more quest to do to write in main quest 2. There's 5 scenes and we've done 4 out of 5 scenes. So you can see scene 4 is pretty long. It's the longest scene so far in the game, and it was written a while ago, the actual scene was, but I had to get it transferred over to the Law Bible and make it look prettier, and we're going to go over it today, and then we're going to start scene 5, the conclusion of main quest 2, and that is as far as we go in regards to dialogue work for a bit, folks, because the first playable build is only going to have main quest 1 and main quest 2 in it, and when we release the second alpha demo playable build, it'll have main quest 3 in it, and we'll probably have an extra main quest with each playable build that gets released. But at this stage it's going to just the alphas that come out, the pre-alpha builds, will literally be pretty basic. It'll just be main quest content and they'll be there. Anything in regards to side quests or features are not going to exist until the main quest side of things are done. I feel like that's the best way to handle things, because we don't want to put too much into the game and have to deal with too much at once. So I'm approaching it with a bit by bit sort of method. So okay, let's catch up with chat. I'm rambling again. I'm not great. Work's been exhausting, stressful, nightmare. Have no plans, company, decorations, or money for Christmas. I'm very tired. Oh no, you are gonna have some time off for Christmas, I hope, though. Rest and having just chill times really awesome over the Christmas period, so I hope you can have that at least, Kindle. You deserve it. And I plan on playing through all the Pokemon games soon, so I'm looking forward to that. Yay! Well, that's lovely. It's always nice to have something to look forward to. Are you doing them all? Are you doing a Pokemon marathon? A place nearby sells 0.2... Why does my brain melt when I see numbers? Even the simplest of numbers. Litre bottles of Iron Brew for £1.50. Yeah? Do you love Iron Brew, Rod? You've got me in the mood to have some now. I feel like I want to go get some. All of the games. Yeah, that's awesome, Kindled. Pokemon's great. I was addicted to the first Pokemon Yellow back in the day. The best Pokemon, I've got 2 favourite Pokemon, and they're both from Gen 1. Slowpoke and Ditto. I know, they're just my cup of tea when it comes to creatures. What is everyone else's favourite Pokemon? I think that's a good question to ask, considering we're on the topic. Because I haven't played most since I was a kid, and there's a handful I've never played. Same, like there's the later gens I never really played, or even though I was obsessed when I was a kid. Farfetch'd is your favourite? Farfetch'd is quite badass, I have to say. There's something badass about that one. Umbreon and Glaceon, good choices. We have someone in it who comes in our streams called Glaceon, so that was definitely a Pokemon inspired name. Soul Silver was the one I got invested in most as a kid. I love the 2000s movie and the Unknown movie. You have no idea how pleased I was when Farfetch got an evolution in Sword and Shield, I assume. That was, oh wow, I'm proud of myself. I got that right. I guessed Sword and Shield. Awesome. What games are the rest of you going to be playing over the Christmas period? As everyone knows, I'm playing Cyberpunk at the moment, and I am not, I don't care. I'm not one of the people jumping on the hate bandwagon. So, although yes, the game is not perfect, I'm still enjoying it. Final Fantasy 14. Oh gosh, talking about Final Fantasy 14, I really want to get back into it myself. And renew my sub in the new year sometime, because I do need to play the most recent patch. Did you complete Shadowbringers? That is my big question today. Did you complete Shadowbringers? I'm curious what you thought. If so, I've got something silly coming up on my computer and it won't go away. Here we go. Yeah, I think it's gone now. Probably play something on my Switch too. Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Effie Uncle and maybe Catherine Full Body. Oh, awesome. Want to get into 14 so badly? Oh my goodness, you should, Kindled. It's MMOs are definitely a time sink, but it's an MMO I definitely rate. I think it's really good. Really good. Okay. I did, in fact, finish the quest entitled Shadowbringers. The last thing that I finished was Echoes of a Fallen Star. Oh, cool. Well, is Echoes of a Fallen Star one of the Shadowbringers patches? It might be. I'm on Xbox, so only MMO I get is ESO. How is Elder Scrolls Online? Like, is that, because I've been tempted to start that one. It's just time once again. But I have like thought about at least giving it a go at some point. It's pretty good. Awesome. I am curious how it compares to Final Fantasy 14. Okay, so this is a super long scene here. One thing I have changed a few things visually with the dialogue trees. I've got red and blue boxes now to make it clearer what branches give minus affinity points and what branches give positive affinity points. Just so things are a little bit clearer. So obviously red symbolises negative affinity points, and I've decided that blue should symbolise the positive ones. So that's what I've done. There's the boxes that are coloured in those. It's just to show that that's a positive response where you've gained points, friendship points with that character, and the red is when you've lost it. Because if we look here, this is the system we're planning. Ignore these random words here. They're just there for the sake of knowing what different positive and negative interactions that we can have. But positive and negative with romance for some of the characters as well. So we did sort of start writing that. We talked a bit about a rough outline of the romance system here as well. So obviously that's kind of the neutral one. In fact, I feel like putting neutral / co-worker because it could be either. So obviously if you get too many minus affinity points, you'll probably end up there, and if you get positive ones, you'll be there under the friendship. And these two will only be there for certain NPCs, the ones that are going to be romanceable in the game. There's two kinds, because obviously we can't have every single character that is romanceable be a deep love story, because it would be a lot of work to write and time consuming. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have the casual romance character as well, just so we can up the quantity of romance options. So yes, right now there aren't any romance interactions in Main Quest 1 and 2. There was originally. This scene here was going to be a romance interaction with Carol. But I started to think maybe the romance interaction should be a side thing rather than put into the forced dialogues. And if you get high enough infinity with them, you'll be able to sort of unlock romance dialogues on the side. But we'll think about that, because it's all just thoughts and ideas for now. Yeah, you get a tickle out of people trying to pronounce it. Yeah, when it comes to pronouncing things, that's where I fail, as you probably know, chat. I always mess up there. Yeah, the hashtag always throws them off. It's a sharp, like, musically. Oh, right, yeah. Echoes was the first bit of the post-launch content. Yeah, I was a big fan of base Shadowbringers. I just really loved the villain, so, you know, had a huge soft spot for Shadowbringers, and I don't know what the patch story content's like, because I haven't finished it yet, but I've heard really good things about the third patch that was released. Hi Hair Devil, how you doing? It's so good to see you. And it's always a werewolf and never a werewolf or a Y-wolf. Yeah, makes you wonder actually why I don't exist. It's pronounced Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE at Encore. I'm not even going to say, I've probably butchered it. Expansions adds a lot, really improved the base game. Yeah, of Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, I was going to just try out the base game of it and see if I liked it. Because I know it's not too expensive, the base Elder Scrolls, and you don't have to pay for a subscription or anything, I believe. But once you buy the expansions, it gets a bit more pricey. But yeah. No, that was flawless. I did it. Woohoo. And I hope you have a good evening, stay warm. Until next time. Thank you, Rod. You too. Have an awesome Christmas if we don't see you until then. I think you'd really like it, do you? Yeah, I have great taste in games, everybody. That's something I know. David knows what I like. So yes, a few little visual changes. I was messing about trying to make it just look clearer, because over time it's gonna get very confusing the more dialogue trees we have. So this is just like a really easy way to know the interactions that are happening, and the different variables that are possible, and that is really why we've done this as well. I made sure to. We've got every single choice so far on here now on this sheet, this document, with the plus and minus affinity points that we gain. So this is a really cool way to see everything, because before we did this, I just got confused. I got confused by what choices we had in the game, and I even forgot some of them. I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, there's that. But this way, it's really easy to just see what all the choices are. And I'm happy. It's all pretty organised now. But the next step is going to be starting scene 5 of this quest. So that'll be fun. We'll be chatting about it today and just rambling on about things. It's really cool. The Fire Emblem Weapon Triangle folds into the JRPG gameplay really easily. Oh, cool. I wish I just could clone myself so I could play all these games. That would be good. I think we need a few extra days invented to add to the week. We should have 3 days in the weekend as well. Okay, so let's get this prepared. So this scene, brand new scene time. This is exciting because we've got absolutely nothing in regards to writing for this scene. We've caught up now, and this is the furthest we've got in the story. So it's all new stuff now from this point on. And Everbloom Forest Ancient Overlook, yep, that's the location. I've added that now to the scenes, just so we know where we are on the map. And I've called this scene the painting. Ooh, okay, so we might have a read through this in a bit though, talk about the characters, see what we think, any edits that we feel are needed, or make sure everything makes sense. We'll do that at some point in the stream too. Look how long this scene is. This part here was on the trailer. Do any of you remember the trailer I released? It's actually on the website. I did it in like one single night. I rushed it for Pitchy Game, and I was really proud of the fact I actually put something together. No, actually, that wasn't on that trailer. That was on my trailer, the one that's on my personal Twitter pinned tweet, actually. But yeah, that part of the scene is on there. But this scene is full of puns. It's like pun crazy. This scene is loads of silly puns. Barely have enough time to scratch my backlog or stream for that matter. I know, right? It's just, there's so much to do. So much. There's so many games out there that I've said, I want to play that game. Really want to play that game. And it's been like 5 years or something. I've still not got around to playing it. Alright, so I have some notes somewhere on this scene. Oh my goodness, did I mention it? I can't remember if I told you all. I might have mentioned it at the start of the stream, but I've done a blank. I can't remember if I said, but some of you might know that I am moving house. Just still somewhere in the UK. I'm not like moving overseas or anything just yet. But we sold our house quite a while ago. And it's going to be good because we're moving to a bigger house that's detached, and we won't have any silly neighbour problems. And I'm actually going to have 2 rooms in the new house, so that's great for me. 1 room entirely for my computer. Not going to complain there. And I was like, a lot of you know about it because I've spoke about it on the stream. Oh gosh, I've got to be careful not to touch my nose because I'll smudge my Rudolph nose. Can't do that. But yes, I just didn't know when the date was for moving, but I think it's going to be in January or February. So obviously that I'll be probably quite busy around the moving period, but I'll keep you all updated and let you know in Discord. It's gonna be busy times moving, but it's probably not gonna, like I say, be till the end of Jan or early February, so we've still got like a few weeks of fun before that happens. Wanted to play them all for a long time, and now you are. Hi Pooh, are you going to catch them all? Are you going to get everything? Okay, I'm trying to think where we should start because there's quite a lot of things to think about. Because before we do any scene work whatsoever, because scenes will be the next step after this, I want to make sure all our dialogue we're happy with it and characters are consistent, and before we jump into the scene work. And we spent a few streams really chatting about the characters and developing them, and there's going to be a few changes that we need to make for sure regarding this scene particularly. because Fiona paints Rose as somebody who's very dangerous, which we're going to change slightly. We're going to change it to Fiona saying something like she's going to mention how easy Rose was to capture and wasn't a threat at all, because we're turning Rose into more of although she's a vampire, she's not very strong, and she's not really that violent by nature, really. She's definitely not the dangerous character that we're going to portray her to be. At least not at this stage of the game anyway. If we want her to become more badass over time, then that's cool, but she's going to start off as someone who's not very dangerous. But there's a character, where are they? Where's got the Law Bible here. We're talking a bit about it in the ideas discussion channel, actually, if we get that up. Is it here? No, it might. I don't think it's that one. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So if anyone's curious, feel free to read that. But I'm thinking we should put wanted posters up. And it's like, it's funny because it's not actually Rose that's the dangerous one. It's going to be the copycat, because there's an NPC in the game that's Rosie's doppelganger. A character that's impersonating her, and really they're the reason why Rose has a bad reputation and has a wanted poster. Not Rose themselves. Like, Rose herself is actually not that dangerous at all compared, so that's why Fiona will probably say something. She'll be kind of shocked and be like, that she was really easy to capture, no threat at all, and then Carol will get the impression that Rose isn't a danger to her, and then that dialogue here where she sort of bullies her remains a little bit more believable. I'll get a lot. Woohoo! Yeah, let us know how those playthroughs go, Kindled. Let us know. I keep wanting to grab my bottle. Let's have it. My water bottle. It's sad I don't have one anymore. Alright, so let's think about scene 5. If anyone wants to actually read through scene 4, feel free to. All you have to do is go into the Law Bible and click on main quest 2 in the story section, and you can sort of get updated to how that scene it played out. I'm thinking of making a Google Doc just so we can write some notes on scene 5 before we jump into actually doing the dialogue. So let's just open this. This is how we did it for main quest 3, so maybe we should approach it a similar way with oh wow, I've got red all over my hands because of my nose. Gotta be careful not to touch that nose. So, the painting. So what we did to make it easy on ourselves, we wrote like an outline, like step-by-step outline about what the scene has to cover, the main things that the scene must cover, and then we like struck it through once the scene did that, and I think the scene turned out quite well. So we can do the same sort of thing here. I think that'll be cool. Think about what the scene needs to have. So this is the post-battle scene. This is the scene that happens after the battle with the fruits. So did I add that at the end of the dialogue? I don't think I did. Yeah, that's one thing we need to add so we don't. That's all we have to say. Let's zoom in so we can actually see it. It's as simple as that. We write. I don't know, I'm getting indecisive. Don't matter, we'll just leave it like that. We'll just have it as battle actually. Because if I do it like that, that means I have to have a battle ends one and I can't be bothered. So actually, I'm being so indecisive. We'll do it like that, and then we'll have another one that says battle ends on the next scene. So I'm going into doing this scene blind, folks, so you're going to see me get a bit indecisive and be like, but this or but that. It's always very, can be a bit daunting going into that stuff blind on stream in front of you all. But it's also fun, because then we can brainstorm and come up with cool things if we all get involved. Now we've got to drag this to this. There we go. So the scene ended with the battle beginning and then the battle ends. So we're not going to talk about any of the battle stuff or what the battle's like or what items we're going to get. We're not going to talk about that right now, because I'm going to focus on the battle stuff once we've got all the scene work out the way. Once all the narrative side of things is polished for main quest 1 and 2, which is what we're working on now, as you can see, we can put that to the side and focus on the battle side of the game. Well, the battle side of main quest 1 and 2, that is. Because one thing I used to do was do everything. I used to do bits of the dialogue, bits of the scenes, bits of the battles, bits of that, bits of this, and I spread myself too thin, and it got pretty, it was fun, don't get me wrong, mixing it up and having variety was fun, but I also found that it made it harder to get things complete, because I was doing everything and then just none of it got finished. So focusing on one thing at a time, I think, is the way to go now, and it gets less messy as well when it comes to play testing, if you can just get one thing done at a time. So that's how we're doing it. So no more battle talk. This is all just the narrative side of things today and what's going to happen after that battle scene. So that's what we'll put here. So the battle with the fruits ends. That's the first thing that happens. Okay, now I'm kind of thinking of it as a start, middle and end. What we do now is that the start of the scene, we're going to be faced with a choice. We're going to get the choice whether we want to kill or spare the fruits, which we've already got written down here, because it was already set in stone. That is one thing we know that's going to happen in this scene, that we're going to get that choice whether we spare or kill them, and then it's going to, the middle of the scene will go to Rose doing the painting, we'll see it, and then the end of the scene will conclude with us deciding we have to go back to Lakefall. So we kind of know the outline, but it's just filling in all those middle exciting bits and just filling and fleshing it out is what we're doing today. Hi Stevie, how you doing? Long time no see. Yeah, how are you been? I hope you're having a good pre-Christmas. Things are well on your end. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing good. So that's the first thing. So the actual choice is not going to actually happen in the battle. It's going to happen after the battle within the scene. So we'll write this and say, the battle with the fruits ends. They look vulnerable maybe, because we kind of have to make the choice difficult. We'll talk about that more in a sec, but so I'm going to bold. So no matter what you fight them, they are a boss battle and you do fight them, but you know, you get the choice at the end whether you want to kill them off for good or actually let them go. So I'm figuring as the battle ends, they're going to kind of look vulnerable. Something else could happen. We could have a die. Maybe one of the fruits could say something before the choice pops up, like to make the player second guess their decision. Something like they could plead for their life or make us feel bad so that we get tempted to spare them. That could be something that happens. Hi, Living on Edge, how are things going? Merry Christmas to you. And Merry Christmas is cancelled, so could have been better. Yeah, it sucks. Let's not let it be cancelled though. We shouldn't let that stop us. It's hard and it sucks, but we should still make sure we have a cool time, right? Like me, I'm dressed up as Rose Reindeer today. We're having a Christmas stream today. Hope everything has been well and you're having a good holiday season. We have Christmas together, exactly. Gotta be Rose Reindeer. It's kind of my costume. I do it every year. How are you though, Edge? How are things for you? How is everyone doing? What have you been up to? Update me on things. Update me on it all. And you get the chance to kill or spare the fruits. So, my idea is, but I'm also intrigued what other folks think about this. What I am going to do, I want to have a note section where I sort of ramble, and things that aren't set in stone I'm going to put in italics like this. So my thoughts are for this part of the scene. Instead of chance, I'll say choice. You get the choice to spare or kill the fruits. Oh, I should say hi, I've been watching for a bit. Hi, Matt. Welcome back to the stream. I hope you've been well. How are things? Things are going alright, just taking this year day by day over here in the US, just waiting for the good days again, but I know they're coming. Yeah, I hope so. Things have gone pretty bad here in the UK as well recently. It's madness. It's all madness. So should the fruit say something before the choice pops up? Do any? Okay, so do any of them plead for their life? Maybe they use Blueberry's birthday to guilt trip you. Because one thing we want to do when it comes to choices, they have to have weight. I'm not doing good choice inconsequence again for no reason. That's not what Raindrop Chronicles is about. Raindrop Chronicles is about having weight and purpose, and otherwise I'm gonna just, if there's ever a choice in the game that is pointless, it doesn't lead to anything, I'll be very tempted to cut it out. So which is why I talked about potentially cutting out the outcome where the painting looks different based on what Violet paints with. Like, I talked about that a bit last stream. But this is gonna, it has to be a hard decision, sparing or killing the fruits. I want to make the player be like really like torn with the decision and think, holy crap, what do I do? That's kind of what I'd like this to be. Living on edge, oh my goodness, thank you so much. There's me rambling, or you gone and done that. 26 months, oh my goodness me, thank you so much. Look at that juicy red raindrop badge that is there next to your name now. I appreciate the support, Edge. That's very kind of you to do. Thank you. Appreciate it. 26 months is a long time. That's like a whole 2 years and 2 months. My goodness. Living in the US feels like living in dystopia, separate from the rest of the world, yeah. But, you know, I feel like the UK is dystopia right now as well. Like, the COVID has mutated in our country. It's like madness. And nobody in London can do anything for Christmas. They're all locked in their homes. They can't even see their family over Christmas. It's craziness. It really does. The everyday news is like watching an MTV show. Tessa, we live in a weird time. I mean, I think I'm very grateful to live in an age where we've got internet and the technology that we've got. I'm very happy about that, but we're also living in a really bad time as well. I hope there's better things ahead for the future and it doesn't get worse, that's all. Hi Van, how are you doing? Sorry, so busy this week. Totally forgot to open Twitch, working lurking. Well, I hope the work lurk goes well. And yes, I'm really, really happy you guys didn't forget about me, because I thought, you know, when you have a week off stream, it's very easy to be like, oh no, I'll come back and no one will remember me. So it's always very lovely to see that people come and tang out, because it's only natural when you've not been streaming for a bit. We're definitely living in a I can't get my words out, historical era. We talked about for ages. Yeah, in decades to come, people will be like, my god, that year they'll be looking at us. The UK's vaccines, meanwhile, our idiot didn't buy enough, so they all got sent to you. Yeah, I just hope things get better for you guys in the States, because he's going to get kicked out soon anyway. He's not going to be president for much longer. Thank goodness. Using Zoom or Skype far easier getting COVID. Yeah. We're very fortunate to have that technology. Imagine if we lived in 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, and this happened. That would be awful. Like, how would we even see anyone ever? But at least we've got it's not quite the same, but it's still something. That's what I try to tell myself too. And yeah, our idiot has made our world a mess, but he doesn't care. He's rich and gets the vaccine. I love how you guys just call him idiot rather than by his name, which is great. That should be what he is, just idiot. We won't even utter the name. And gets the vaccine. Yeah, this is why I honestly believe politicians shouldn't be rich, you know, because they've got no compassion. Let's just have a normal person as a politician, please. Like, obviously someone that's got like good knowledge of history and all that thing, because you need to. I mean, I doubt that the idiot has good knowledge of history. He's stupid. But you know, we don't want someone rich and like that. They've got no understanding of humanity or any sympathy. the real people. He caught COVID and had special team treat him, so now he's downplaying the vaccine. Yeah, I'm just hoping 2021 isn't worse than 2020. That's all I hope. Really hope. We'll see, won't we, guys? Or we'll just play video games to make us happy in the meantime. We call him all things the idiot, that's for sure. That's true as well. That's true. We could say far nastier things. Alright, so today, for anyone who's just popping in, this is an update. We're all up to date with our embedded dialogue trees for main quest 1 and 2 now. I spent a bit of time last week getting all of scene 4, meeting the fruits, into the dialogue tree document. So it's a super long scene, as you can see, longest scene so far in the game. And all the choices I've mapped out here as well that happen in that scene, and the affinity points that are lost. I actually want to go over that scene in a bit, just skim through it with you all, because there's quite a bit to talk about with it. But one thing that we do need to do is write the next scene, which is what we're doing now, scene 5, the painting, which is the conclusion of main quest 2, and what's going to take us back to Lakefall and begin the next plot point of the game, when the reptiles are introduced as a antagonist. They wouldn't have really been mentioned up until this point, so when we return to Lakefall we'll be finding out about the reptiles. But before all that begins, we've got to conclude the fruits segment, which is what we're writing up now. We're doing an outline. Rose will do the painting. So the start, middle and end. The start of the scene deals with the conclusion of the fruits, where the spare will kill them. The middle of the scene will be when Rose does the painting and we see that it's a reptile. And the end of the scene will be that they decide to go back to Lakefall and, you know, what they're going to do next. So we're gonna just fill out and flesh out how this scene's going to go, because we've already got the outline so far. We've got all the fun stuff to fill in. Oh no, not another blooming bot. What I'm really curious about is whether I'm ever going to have a stream ever again that doesn't have a bot in it. Because it's been every single stream that I've had a bot. All about him the past 4 years was setting up his future, not ours. Yeah, and we can see right through it. Most of us can. Well, sadly there's people that can't, but they've been brainwashed. Also, on top of the day, all the day-to-day nightmares, they're also trying to arrest people for streaming. Seriously, is this new news that's coming again? Jesus, content creators are getting it tough, aren't they, lately? I must say that 2020 has been an insane year for Twitch. I feel like surely things have to get better than this for what it's been like. Not sure how that's been going or any new updates, but yep, that's stupid and terrible. Yeah, I want to know now. Copyright content, playing music or copyrighted? Oh yeah, the music issue was something that I've been aware of for several weeks now, which is why I took down the file van to see soundtracks that I used to play in the background, because even video game music became a problem to stream. Now I just play awesome copyright-free RPG music on stream now, which is still super awesome stuff, and stuff that we'll be using for Raindrop Chronicles as well. So since Rosie's playing FF music, she would go to jail, according to this bill. Yeah, exactly. That's why I stopped doing it, because, you know, you don't want to take that risk, really. Is this a US bill? But yes, there was like Twitter went crazy a few weeks ago over it, and everyone was like, yeah, we can't. And that was ultimately when I decided to take down the vinyl fantasy music. Everyone went into a big panic. Yeah. You know, my opinion is if the music industry ever could get all copyrighted music stopped from everything, they'd lose money because no one would be free advertising their content. Yeah. See, I agree. I think they're fools to themselves, in all honesty, because surely the exposure's good for them. Okay, so we'll make this text a bit smaller. Zoom in now. So while we're doing this outline, I will be adding like a few thoughts in italics about, you know, little musings on the scene and what it could possibly be like. So feel free to chat about that with me, folks. The reason I'm thinking that could be a thing was because ideally we want the choice to be difficult. We want to purposely make the player feel bad for killing them. You know, it's got to be a hard choice. If 95% of the players kill the fruits, then we failed. Or, you know, because it has to be as 50-50 as possible, you know, to at least try and get it as 50-50 as possible so that it is a hard choice. And I think, you know, if anyone's read scene 4 where we meet the fruits, there are some likable fruits in the bunch. I think they have a charm to them. Their personality. It depends on your perspective, because some people might absolutely hate the fruits. They are villains after all. So it all depends on how you feel about the fruits as characters, really, whether you're going to kill or spare them. Oh gosh, what's this coming out? Let's get rid of that, go away. And with some of the choices here, you can gain affinity points with the fruits, but lose them with Carol and Violet, and the opposite for that one. So, yes, which makes it more interesting then. Depends where your allegiances lie. Fives, thank you so much for that raid. I appreciate it. Let's have some love in chat. Thanks for stopping by, folks. Let's give a shout out to Fives. Let's see what you're streaming. How was your stream? Let us know how it went. I'm glad that the raid has come up, because lately hosts and raids haven't been showing because Twitch banned them as well, which is another thing that I was mad about. Hi Master Emerald, how are you doing? Most music I buy is because I heard it somewhere. Exactly, like if we never hear the music, we don't even know it exists. So the music industry has always been an annoying narc trying to shut down every single thing that uses music. I mean, if I was a musician and I heard a streamer playing my music on their stream, I'd feel nothing but flattered. I certainly wouldn't be like, oh my god, how dare they? Especially if they credited me, I'd be like really flattered. I'd be like, holy crap. It was good. Got a lot of work done on my game. How are you doing today? I'm doing good. I'm having a sort of Christmas stream. I mean, I'm dressed up as Rose Reindeer today. So, getting into the Christmas spirit. And we're working on scene work, well, planning scenes and dialogue for the game. And this bit's always one of my favourites. I love doing dialogue work. I could spend forever just talking about characters and this sort of thing. Well, I know that the artists can have a hard time making money. I think that there needs to be a better model for artists to get paid. Yeah. For sure, I think the creative industries in general are like very difficult to get like financial success from, and that sucks because people should be able to pursue a creative career and be comfortable. I'm an advocate of that. Good sodding luck. Okay, so the next part of the scene is gonna be, so I want to outline it before we get into writing it, you see. It's just so we know exactly what we got to cover. Because otherwise we'll just be looking at that and be like, oh god, what now? What do we do? So we'll just be staring at a blank page, not knowing what to do. So I was fine just making a few notes, getting some thoughts down is always helpful. Okay, so I'm thinking of now what actually happens when you pick the choices. So we've got two choices: spare the fruits and kill the fruits. So let's just sort of write I don't know what's happening with Google and their formatting. There we go. I think it's fine. So if we spare the fruits, then we talked a bit about this a while ago. I think a few of you had some ideas about what could go down, and I thought it was pretty cute actually. So I'm curious what you think of this scene, folks. So I'm gonna just get it down. And this is all, just first ideas. We can chat about if there's any plot holes or things that don't work. Feel free to mention that. This is just the initial idea that we've had for how the scene could unfold if you spare them. So they jump. I keep touching my nose and I need to stop because it's gonna go everywhere, my Rudolph nose is. Okay, so they jump back into their basket. They go back in their basket, jump off a cliff. Well, it's the cliff. We're high up. The area, Everbloom Forest is very cliffy and there's lots of rivers. So jump off the cliff using their basket as a boat, saying something like, shouting more like, don't know if that'd be the exact sentence they'd say, but something along those lines, to as a warning, as a threat of the things to come. Yes, we haven't seen the last of them, indeed, if you spare them, that is. So that was really one of the ideas for sparing them, which I thought was pretty cute. I thought the idea of using a basket as a boat was quite cool because it's very appropriate for the actual setting and the scene that we have here with Everbloom Forest. And how else would they escape, Is there any other idea that's as charming as that as an escape method for the fruits? Because that was that stuck out to me when we were talking about it back when we discussed this scene. And well, I know that the artist can have. I've already read that bit. Oh my god, I keep reading what you guys already said. Okay, so that's the idea for sparing the fruits. It's certainly more charming and cuter and more funny than if they just walked off and that was it. I think it's nice to do something a bit cute and entertaining like that. So killing the fruits, it'll be a different story and a different tone entirely to sparing them. Now, don't cry, folks, because it's going to get pretty dark. This bit is the baddies anyway, so it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter that this bit is sad. So you use your weapon to completely is it destroy? Would that work for fruits? They are dead. Nothing except mush on the forest floor. Is that depressing, everybody? Spell that wrong. The baddies though, so it's not like they're cute fruits. Well, they are, but they're also baddies. So those are the initial thoughts about how the scenes could unfold, like as a visual description. Bash, squish, make, fruit juice, make, pulp. Yeah, I was wondering if destroy was the right verb for killing and mushing fruits to death. To completely squish them. That's better. You use your weapon to completely squish them. They are dead. Nothing but mush. Let's just put nothing but mush on the forest floor. Squish them to a pulp. Make pulp. Yeah, it's funny because that's what Tomato threatened to us. In this scene, Tomato's just going, where does he say? Yeah, use its pulp and toss the, like, he's like threatening to squish us. Or Rose, or I mean Violet. But we're going to be the ones turning him into pulp, more like. Okay, so these scenes, you know, there's this section after the choice happened. I couldn't imagine it being that long. Maybe a short animation sequence over and done with within 20 seconds maybe. I don't know. That one might be a touch longer. In fact, I'd say they'd probably be about the same length, those two scenes. Let's think of some dialogue examples as well, for things they could say to guilt trip us. So we got to think of their personalities. Lemon's very stoic, so he wouldn't beg for his life. No way, he's got too much pride to keep wanting to burp. Plum's a little bit, it would probably be Plum, maybe. If we have a look, let's just remind ourselves of what they said just as the battles was yeah, Plum's like, this is awful. Today of all days, it's Blueberry's birthday. So I feel like if anyone's going to be the pleader of the gang, it's probably going to be Plum. Blueberry's far too innocent and oblivious to the realities of life. Blueberry probably wouldn't even know that he was about to get squished. He's too young. Lemon's too stoic to beg, and Tomato's too aggressive and immature. And Apple probably has already accepted his fate, in a way. So, Plum. So what did We'll think about that when we actually get into the dialogue tree section, but it's more likely plums, so... So I'll say plums. Okay, so those are the scenarios. So next step at the scene. Right, so now we're going into the middle of the scene now. We've dealt with the fruits. They've either escaped or been killed at this point. So now we're just left with ourselves, Violet and Carol, and the unfinished painting. So what I could imagine going down right now is this. So as soon as the fruits are out the picture, Carol shows no hesitation and immediately tells Violet to finish the painting. She probably wouldn't show much sympathy either about the fruits. If they were killed, she'd just be like, oh well, because she didn't really get on with them in the previous scene. Okay, so that's from Carol's perspective. That's how I imagine her behaving. She's like, finally they're gone, let's just get this paint done, because she's selfish. She's got her mind on her goal, she's dead set on it, and that's all she cares about. So she just paint. At this point it's kind of thinking, well, what about how Violet and ourselves as the hero feel about this? We want some character development here as well. We don't just want to have it all go smoothly and Violet just does what she's told, and that's it. The paint's done and back to the village. We want to have some interesting internal stuff and cool character interactions happening in this scene as well, to just make it memorable. So my idea was that, okay, I want a bit of conflict between Carol and the hero right now, because we can't do much in regards to Violet. We can't do much because she doesn't really talk, but there's an opportunity here for the hero and Carol for something to go down before Rose finishes the painting. So something like, I'm not here. Hi Sorter, how you doing? It's good to see you. Look at all those raindrops, my goodness. Look at all of those. In the top 50 as well. Hello, how have you been, Rose? I've been okay. I'm glad back to streaming now. I always tend to miss it when I've had a week break. When I've had a week break in the past, I'm always ready to go again. So I'm glad to be back. Although, it's Christmas on Friday, so I won't be streaming then. But I'm assuming everything will be back to normal next Monday on the 28th. We'll be back to our regular schedule then. But I'm glad to be streaming today. Wednesday I hope to stream as well. I can't be 100% sure if Wednesday is on or off yet. I'd like to say yes. So just, assume that there's a Wednesday stream as normal. The only chance of it not happening is if something happens Christmas related that I have to deal with. But assume it's all going on as normal. Howdy, hi Storm, how are things going? It's good to see you. How has your week been? And my PC broke, I'm building a new one. Oh no, Oh no, I feel your pain, because I was really panicking last weekend, not this weekend, the week before, that my PC was a goner as well. And everything's backed up. I made sure of it, but it's still hanging on. It's doing okay. And I'm sorry that that's happened, because it sucks. Oh, I'm glad that you're able to build a new one. What happened to it? What actually happened to your PC to cause it to break? I usually build my own PCs, but this past year, did you, Van? You've got a brand new PC now, have you then? Gotta go pre-built, because God help me if I can get hold of a 3060 Ti on my own. Yeah, I usually buy my PCs because I'm not really I'm not very good when it comes to the messing with things. I'm a bit clumsy. Well, not 2020, but 2019. Awesome. I look forward to eventually getting a new computer, but I'm gonna get every bit of life left out of this one before I get one. Okay, so one thing I thought of could happen is what we're going to have here is some character interaction and character development with Carol and the hero here. One thing that we did, which we're going to kind of carry on with, I think now, is in scene 3. Here it is. Let's go back. Scene 4 is really long, so there's quite a bit of scrolling to do. In scene 3, you as the hero had the option to confess that you have an item that belongs to one of Carol's family members, which was a mechanic that was come up with a few weeks ago. It's all here in the ideas discussion. Actually, I made a special 5-page Google Doc on it, so if anyone doesn't know about that, feel free to read it, but that's related to what I'm sort of talking about now. But yes, but Carol tells you to shut up, so it doesn't lead anywhere. In fact, it gets her more angry, you being honest. But the point is, it might pay off. Your honesty might pay off eventually in the long term. You might lose a bit of affinity points with her for now, but hiding it from her could have more consequences in the long run. And I kind of want to bring that up again, because at the end of the day, you have an opportunity to fess up again here. So something like you tell Violet to stop. So basically the same thing as what happened in Main Quest 3. You'll try again to tell Carol you've got something. And this is just as well, just so that people aren't like, but why is the hero just standing there and not doing anything, when they actually have the entire secret to this plot in their pocket, and letting all this go on. So this is just a way to say, well, we did try, the hero did try and be honest about what they know, but Carol just didn't give the hero the opportunity to know, to say anything. So Carol again rips into you for interrupting, and continues and demands that Violet paints. Carol is just so silly, she doesn't even let the hero get a word in edgeways. She's very one-track minded. She thinks this is how it's gonna go, this is the plan, and nothing's gonna stop me. And she's silly because this other option could have worked out. Bad Carol, I know, right? Nightmare joke, I know. It does excellent on games. I can't wait to eventually have a new PC so I can actually play PC games, like rather than rely on console for them. So I will look forward to the day when I can get a new PC. Hi Carlos Handsome, how are you doing? It's good to see you. I'm doing good. Do you like my rose reindeer costume? Yeah, there was a crazy storm where there was actually lightning in the snow, really wild sight, and it struck my house and there went everything plugged in. Oh, that really sucks. Damn it. I hope your new PC that you're making just ends up way more awesome after that. I love it. Cute red, yeah, thank you, Kung. Yes, I've got a red nose as well that I painted on me, and I've been accidentally rubbing my nose all stream, and then I looked at my hands and they were all red because I'm silly. But for those of you that are just coming in, we are writing an outline for Main Quest 1 Scene 5, which is a scene that hasn't been written yet. It was the furthest that we've got, and this is the final scene in Main Quest 2. This is what am I doing? It's Main Quest 2, not Main Quest 1. Go away, Chrome, help. That was a typo. So this is how Main Quest 2 concludes, and this will be the last scene we work on for some time, because we won't be working on Main Quest 3 content until after our first playable build release. So once we're happy with this scene, once we've done the dialogue for it, and once we're happy with the previous scenes that come before it, dialogue wise as well, it'll be about getting those scenes into RPG Maker, play testing them, making sure they run well and smoothly, and then it'll be about merging the battles in between. We're not focusing on any battle content until the scene work is done and dusted for Main Quest 1 and 2. And then it'll just be making sure it's all okay. And then we'll probably be close to releasing the first playable build once we've implemented all that. And then that'll be time to do Main Quest 3 once that bit's out of the way. Oh my gosh, Kia, thank you so much for that sub. 14 months, I appreciate it. Should we have some hype in chat for that? Thank you very much. How you doing, Kia? Hope you're having a good week. You've heard of cyberbullying, now get ready for Cyprus bullying. That's right, now you can be verbally abused by a pile of wood. Carol is just... She's a very odd one. I mean, I can imagine that some people would dislike her because she's a bit mean. There's absolutely no doubt that Carol's not the nicest of people. But I think as long as we keep the intrigue with that character and make her sort of endearing to a degree, is important as well. But she's going to go on a character arc and a lot of growth throughout the journey, and it's going to be nice to see her potentially soften and become nicer as a person as well as this goes on. She's got a lot of learning to do, but we have a lot of learning to do as well, because we kind of dehumanize Carol for being a barrel. A lot of people might, but we shouldn't, because she's got a life too. Thank you for the hype, Rex. I appreciate it. Okay, so where were we? So, demands that violent paints. Now, what's the next bit? Now, this is another thing I was thinking of as well. You now, as the hero, are in your right to be very angry at this, because you twice now could have... Carol's treated you really badly. She's been an asshole, so you have the option here to now there'll probably be like variations with how this can go. You can be completely savage to Carol if you want, or you can be a little bit nicer but still firm. So Okay, so the thing I realised here, before I go into this point any further, is while we were writing scene 4, it's true that the fruits call us humans. They don't call us flashbacks like Carol do. Let's go through. And yeah, Lemon here is like, friends, I don't trust you humans. You baked Blueberry's mother into a pie. Don't worry, human. I know they seem like a reckless bunch. Perhaps this human could assist us with our plan. There's a lot of dialogues throughout this scene where they refer to us as a human, and that is something Carol has never done. So you could get the opportunity here to give Carol some real talk and be like, you know, at least the fruits called us humans and not flashbacks like you. And kind of make her like question herself. Somebody in stream, I think it was Vandalia actually a few weeks ago, mentioned the whole flashback name thing and how it is hurtful to us as the hero, which is true, it is. And that gave me the idea to eventually have a conversation between us and Carol where we do kind of tell her that and be like, you know, this flashback thing has to stop. You need to stop being like this. And I feel like this is a good opportunity to do that without it being forced as well, because of the fact that the fruits actually did call us humans and she didn't. That's very clear. Doing well, been working every day for almost a month and a half. Oh my gosh, GG. You definitely deserve the rest now. I hope you're having some good Christmas break. It's 2020, celebrate emo. I don't think I want to celebrate 2020 that much. Yeah, 2020 celebrate. No. Celebrate ending. That's what we're doing. Can have the hero point out that she's acting like the human she hates. Yeah, I think this is a really good opportunity to do that. So I'd love to hear your ideas, chat, because this scene here, I feel like Carol is really showing her selfishness at this part. As soon as the fruits are out the picture, she just is like, okay, now paint for me. Like, she just doesn't care about anyone but herself. I mean, I can understand why she wants to do this. She wants to find a family. I mean, we all would want to do that if we were in her situation. So I think it's about balancing this so that we still understand Carol's goal and share that same goal as Carol, because us as the player wants to find that family of barrels just as much as she does. So we're desperate too to find answers. So I think if we share Carol's goals and desires, that will make us still want to be on Carol's side, because we want to find Oliver and all the others too, just like her. But at the same time, she has some growing to do, and I think this is an opportunity to kind of give Carol some real talk and make her question her actions, and potentially so we can see the beginnings of her starting to soften. And now it shouldn't happen immediately. It shouldn't happen like Carol suddenly becomes a great person overnight. It's going to be a slow process, but it's going to start from this point. The first signs are becoming a bit better. She might even start to call us by our name, and that would be the shocker, at the time when she's finally calls us our name instead of flashback. That would be like, whoa, Carol's actually called us our name. And then that would show that what we've said as the hero would have got through to her. And I don't think she should call us by our name in this scene, because it's got to kind of she's got to have time to process this conversation. But maybe when we return to Lakefall and we have some quiet time, there might be an opportunity then for something like that. And but why do we want to find the other barrels? Carol has been a jerk for a while. Well, I guess it's because they are endearing characters, and when we got to know them in the flashback scene, us as the player likes them. That's kind of what we want to try and do. We want to make sure that that flashback scene in the wagon was an opportunity for us as the player to think, I like these barrels. These barrels are cool characters. So that we actually want to find them because we like them as characters, and we sort of made Oliver cute on purpose so that as a reason to get attached to them, because we've got Actor had that cute one in the gang to give more reason for wanting to find them. So it's more about that, like it's more about liking them as characters. And if we're failing on that side of things, then we need to try harder to make them likeable. But a lot of you here have come in stream and said that you're very invested in the barrel characters, so I think we're sort of winning there, and that we're making them into characters that we want to meet and that we care about. Carol has been a jerk for a while. Yeah, it's only 2 quests that we've had though, so we're still in Act 1 of Episode 1, so it might seem like a while because we've been writing this for a long time and smoothing it out, but in translated to in-game time, it's a short period of time in reality. Probably something a player could get through in about half an hour, or a little bit less than an hour, maybe somewhere between that. So, you know, it doesn't seem that long really, and we can't, when it comes to storytelling and character arcs, we want to, it's about that growth. Sometimes I have to be an asshole for a period of time so that we get rewarded when they finally do grow as a character, and it's more rewarding then because there's been that journey. If they was good from the beginning, it's not as surprising or not as fulfilling for us. And you could have the hero tell Carol that the only reason that he's looking for the barrels is Oliver, not her. Give her a real kick in the wood, yes. And I guess, I mean, us as the hero, as the player, it's different because the hero's got a different reason than the player. Like, the player, like a random person playing the game, are attached to the barrels as a character, I suppose. But the hero themselves want to find the barrels because they've got the item. So I talked a bit about that in... Where is it hiding? It's up here, yes. I talked a bit about that in this document, actually, I think. And the whole purpose of this, the whole Lucky Charm mechanic, one of the main purposes of it was to give the hero a connection to the container characters so that they've got a reason to want to find them. So that's to kind of like make it make sense, because otherwise without this it'd be like, well, why would the hero care? I mean, as the player cares because we're attached to the barrels because we watch the flashback scene and we think they're cute, especially Oliver, right? But the hero themselves don't think entirely like the player, so it needs to be a deeper with the hero. So I guess the fact that they've got this charm and the fact that they may have left something behind in the wagon will give them enough motivation to want to find those containers. Now, we don't know the backstory just yet and what went down when the hero found this Lucky Charm, like how, we don't have a clue. But I'm thinking that opportunity could unfold in the next main quest. So something like this I wrote here, where is it? So yeah, how did the hero find this item? During the downtime in main quest 3, in a scene, the hero could be alone, have some private time and pull the item out their pocket, look at it and experience a quick flashback. And that flashback could be the moment they found the item. And it would show you know, this would be the events after Carol was separated from her family, and I've kind of roughly written down the events here. But they could have left behind a very important item, and that item they left behind and dropped could be the reason they themselves want to find this wagon, because then it just makes it a bit more, there's more purpose then than it just being, oh, the barrels are cute. You know, there's more, it's deeper, it goes deeper then, and I think it's an interesting thing to consider, because without this bit that I've highlighted here, then there wouldn't be any reason for the hero to need to go back. They've got a lucky charm, why would they care? They're not attached to the barrels, but this kind of forces them into a situation where they have to go back. So we don't know what this dropped item could be yet. It's very up in the air, and I think it's kind of good to keep it vague as well, just so we can consider things. But it's something that would give reason for why they'd have to go back. Can you beat the fruit to a pulp? Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. It's going to be a very sad scene when we see the fruits get killed. It depends if you like the fruits, though. I know a lot of people probably would be glad to see them dead. It all depends on perspective. But yeah, so in answer to your question, Van, about why do we want to find the other barrels, aside from them being, oh, they're cute, that's why we want to find them, I guess the answers lie in this document. And it was really the reason I decided to do the whole lucky charm thing in the first place, to just give more purpose to like we say here, having their own motivation for wanting to pursue this family of containers. And yeah, I mean, we could always say the Oliver thing, but the hero themselves don't really know Oliver, even if they have Oliver's ribbon and that was the item they picked up. But okay, so where were we? Grapes of Wraith to fight back. There's definitely things that could go down once they return. Like, they've threatened that they'll say something along the lines of, you're not seeing the last of us, or something to that degree. So it's kind of a foreshadowing that they're going to be back if you do spare them. So there are a few ideas that we talked about for the ending of the episode for how they're going to return. So it's going to be interesting. It's still just an outline at the moment, but there's ideas there, and at some point in time we'll start developing and fleshing that out more as well. Hello, hi Andy Cake, how are you doing? I probably pronounced it wrong, Tetsu. I probably pronounced it wrong. You mean wrath, don't you? Yeah. Okay, so you scold Carol for being selfish. You could point out that even the fruits, as bad as they were, or evil, should we say, as evil as they were, still called them humans, not flesh bags. So what else could we add here? Mention the names she uses are hurtful. Suggest that Carol's behaviour and morals are worse than the fruits. Yeah, that's a kick in the teeth as well. Carol goes quiet. Or Carol, I'm trying to think of how Carol could act when she's faced with this real talk. So she could either go quiet potentially, but she could either be visibly upset or angry. I have to think about how she'd act, but I think ultimately, however she acts in this scene to that comment, will lead to her processing the conversation and eventually calling the hero by their real name. And that will be like a wow moment. She did it. Finally, she called us by our real name. And we don't know when that's going to happen yet, but, you know, it's in the cards. It's ahead. It's ahead for us. Pretty good. Went to check out an apartment. It was not bad, actually. Oh, cool. Awesome. Moving on to better things, Andy Cake. Okay, so there's something, because this scene ultimately needs to progress after this conversation. It has to lead to Rose doing the paint. I keep touching my damn nose. Is it smudged? We're a little bit smudged. Rudolph, Rose, reindeer is a little bit smudged. It's ultimately got to lead to Violet doing the painting, so because otherwise we'll never finish the scene. So I think, I mean, there could be other things and other ideas, but one way for it to happen could be eventually you feel bad for Carol and nod at Violet to go ahead with the painting. She paints a portrait of a reptile. So that has to happen. That is how, because otherwise we can't progress to the next main quest. So something's got to happen in between that and eventually leading to Violet going ahead to paint anyway. Because we did say stop. You tell Violet to stop, that she doesn't need to paint, as you have something Carol needs to say. And then Carol rips into you for interrupting, and that's what gets you mad. But you see that Violet's probably just standing there doing nothing as this conversation's going down. And, you know, something's got to persuade you to, like, sort of, you know, let her go ahead with the paint. I suppose you could feel bad for Carol. I mean, you could have been pretty harsh to her. And you do want to find those barrels yourself, but, you know, I'm just trying to think if there's a better way for us to decide that Violet can go ahead with the painting. But that's probably the most simple way. So the reptile's being painted. LOL, I don't think we can tell it's smudged with the webcam. Yes. I haven't got a fancy webcam where you can see every pore. So we'll be good. Okay, so you ask Carol if she recognises this. She recognises them. Now, this is an opportunity for, like, this is the first ever introduction of the reptiles in the game, this moment in this scene. I don't think it's very, any sort of reference or mention of the reptiles at this point would have only happened in small NPC discussion in Lakefall at the start of the game, like perhaps something to the degree of them saying things in the forest are coming back to life, it must be the reptiles, they're back, or something very, 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 like, a basic foreshadowing. Like, at that point in time you wouldn't have heard anything like in detail lore-wise about them just yet, most likely, because I think the first part of the Lakefall segment of the game was all about things coming to life in the forest and that shouldn't be alive, and it's going to be more focused on that the first time you're in Lakefall, but the second time you're in Lakefall it's going to be more about the reptile conflict, because the reptiles would have been introduced and it's now allowed for the opportunity for them to be discussed without it being like forced exposition, because there's a purpose now. We actually have a painting of them that will lead to answers, so it makes more sense for them to be mentioned now in the game when we go back to Lakefall. So we got to consider Carol's knowledge about reptiles. What does she know? And how does she feel about them compared to other humans? Does she even know about them? I mean, reptiles live in the caves, so they're definitely not as... they're more isolated, so I don't think Carol would really have much of a relationship with them, are my first thoughts, compared to fleshbags, humans who she hates and has a very bad history with. Reptiles, there's less known about them, perhaps because they're more isolated, living in the caves, and Carol's not really been there. But maybe she knows a bit about them. Someone's got to know a bit, because Rose doesn't speak, so she can't say anything. I mean, Violet, should I say, because Rose is renamed to Violet. I still keep calling her Rose, though, but it'll sink in eventually, the name change will. So I think she's got to know a bit, but not loads, because it's going to make us realise we need to go back to Lakefall to find out more. So, I think any law that's given, either from Carol or the humans in Lakefall, should be twisted, because when we finally go to the caves and see their way of life, we're actually going to realise it's pretty different from what we've heard from the NPCs that we've met. So anything that is said is kind of propaganda, reptile propaganda. Okay, so yes, that's important. I think we've covered the most important points. The only thing that is fleshed, like sort of fleshing out stuff, was all this segment here with Carol, but I think that's really cool. I think that'd be a really cool thing to have in the scene as a conversation, because it's good character development for Carol here. We didn't have to include it, we could have literally just had the fruits, the conclusion to the fruits, and then done the painting, and then realised we have to go back to Lakefall, and we could have not had all this, but I like it, and I love the character development, and I think it was a good and natural opportunity to have that in this scene. So there's only one more thing I think that needs to be covered now. Also, this headband is starting to hurt my head, but I don't want to take it off because I like being Rose Reindeer. Okay, so lastly, before heading back, you realise you can't let the villagers see Violet because she was meant to be sacrificed. Let's not forget that. Fiona Bookington Mate, that was part of the mission, to sacrifice Violet. So we realistically, you know, we'd cause a bit of chaos if we walked back into Lakefall with somebody who is seen to be a danger, even though she's not a danger, because it's Poppy Papercut who is being an imposter and making Violet out to be a danger. Violet is actually lovely. She's just a vampire that can't help it. Okay, so she was meant to be sacrificed. You could either, now choice options here. This is where we can get creative, everybody. I hope you're ready. So you could either, there we go. Yeah, let's do that. So suggest she hides in Carol. That's one option. I know a few of you mentioned that as being one of the things we could do to hide Rose. And I think it's a good one, especially because once again it allows chance for Carol character development. And what we were talking about the other stream with when Zexian was here about how this is her fear, someone being inside her is a fear of Carol's, because she watched her parents die like that in the flashback, which one day we will do the scene for, which will be heartbreaking. So she will. Obviously, if we go for that one, Carol's not going to like that at all. But it's an interesting option. And the next one I thought of... My tummy's doing a rumble. Shall I have some snacks? I shouldn't, because it's naughty not to eat before dinner. But I don't think a fuse's going to do any harm. Very hungry. Can't be having a rumble tum-tum. Have a snack. Yeah, I am. What are you eating? These. Do you know them? Do you folks across the pod know them? I asked that at the start of stream. Some of you did and some of you didn't. Those look yummy, yeah. In Europe we have good chocolate. What are they? The package looks like dog treats. It does, doesn't it? Imagine it. If I was really eating dog food, would you be impressed? If I was a secret dog. Oh, I guess I am Rose Reindeer, so I'm not far from being one. 12 bites. Is it chocolate? It is. It's chocolate indeed. Are they chocolate with crunchy stuff? They are, how would I describe them? You know the flakes that they put in ice creams? That's as simple as I can get. You know those sticks that usually get put in ice cream cones? If you guys across the pond have that, it's a bit like that. Just like small versions. We have tons of other candy. Yes, you guys do have good candy. I'm quite jealous of your candy, actually. Because I do like candy now and again. Okay, so suggest she hides in Carol is one option. Another is... go back to Lake Fall with her and not care. Just boldly walk out across with Violet with you and people freak out. And if the other one I can think of, and this is just ideas, so like if we come up with a list, we won't go ahead with all of them, but it's good to be creative and just think of options. The only other one I can think of, if we were going to have a third one, that is, we might just have two. But if we did want to stretch it out more, another one could be have a hide in someone's house. We don't know whose, but maybe one of the NPCs could be willing to hide her for us. That could have consequences later, potentially. Not all is good. We have a few large companies that can't even be classified as the food they're supposed to because they don't meet the... Oh, really? When I was at university, there was a shop in the city centre where I was at uni that sold American candies. And I used to go in that shop and it was like heaven to me. I was like, look at all these candies. And it was all like exported stuff. I mean, imported stuff from the US that wouldn't be sold in any of the other shops in our stores. I was like, wow, look at all these candies. And I used to have some and I really liked it. I liked it. I got a sweet tooth though. Like Pringles are crisp because they legally don't meet the requirements to be a potato chip. I love Pringles. I like them. I'm thirsty now though, now about that. I don't have a water bottle anymore. I'm not really that fussy when it comes to nice foods. If it tastes good, I like it. I can have a real sweet tooth. Okay, so I think we've covered everything in regards to how the final scene of Main Quest 2 could go down. So we've got the outline now and it was all just about writing it, right? Fun times. But before we go ahead and write it, I do want to make sure the other scenes that we've done are consistent. Because there was a few things about them that might need a little change. One thing we did change, some of you already knew this if you were in the streams last week, but you are now nude at the start of the game, everybody. Like, what do you mean, dude? You'll be in Carol without any clothes on, because the custom hero creator, now we've updated it. Obviously you'll be wearing underwear, but you won't actually have your clothes on, your class outfit. But your clothes are going to be inside Carol, loose. So she'll toss your clothes at you when you climb out the barrel. And that actually works out better animation wise as well, in regards to, because I still wanted Carol to be violent at the start of the scene, because it was like an sort of surprising scene opener, I guess. And it was funny, we all loved it. So I didn't want to change it to her not doing that. Because we just altered the scene just a touch. And that would lead to, if she tosses the clothes at you, there'll be an animation where she kind of doesn't, she just tosses them out of her and they hit you. Because it was pretty difficult to pull off a realistic barrel punching animation anyway. Not that it's impossible, but that's it. That works with the new method of us being nude at the start of the game. Hi dog, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. But It'll lead to the end of the scene. The NPC, the currently unknown NPC that we don't know their name yet or what they look like, they'll tell you to put the clothes on, so you'll grab them from the ground and put them on at that point. But we just thought it was really funny, comic relief, right? Got out of the bit. So that'll be fun to do that scene when we do it. What else? There's a few things. Pringles are crisp. Oh yeah. Okay, so the scene with Nigel. Okay, so that's what we're on now. He's the only character we have in the game so far that we've met that we haven't had the option to gain or lose affinity points. So if we look at our outline here, there's a lot of opportunities to lose affinity points with Carol. There really is, but there's also neutral options as well. If you don't want to have a negative relationship with Carol, this is the first opportunity you'll get to have a plus affinity point with Carol. And there's other points in the main quest too where you can gain as well. But there's more chance you can lose affinity points with Carol than gain them, because she's a difficult character to get on with. Some characters are harder to please than others. Some are more people pleasing and friendly, so that'll be easier to gain affinity points with maybe. All depends on the character, but there's a lot of opportunity for conflict with Carol at the start of the game, so that's why there's a lot of minus points there. And then there's Fiona as well. Like, there's a big chance you can make an enemy out of her if you push her in the lake. And Violet as well. There's opportunities to gain and lose with Violet. And the fruits as well, in the fruit scene. And although it might not seem like it matters having affinity with the fruits, because you might kill them off, they might die, not necessarily, because there's the option to spare the fruits, and if you ever did go with that option, your affinity that you have with the fruits will potentially affect you later on, if you did choose to spare them. And that means Nigel is the only character in the present day that we haven't got any affinity points with yet. I mean, obviously there's these guys, but because they're in a flashback, we can't develop affinity with them yet. But everybody else, the fruits, Violet, Fiona and Carol, we've had the opportunity to develop that. So Nigel's someone we will obviously be having affinity with, because he's going to be a romance option in the game. He's going to be a gay romance option. So I feel like we need to start considering if there's an opportunity to gain or lose affinity with him in this scene. I mean, if not, we've still got when we return to Lakefall in main quest, around the main quest 3 time. There was one thing that stuck in my head. One sec. Because we can't refuse to do. I mean, the straightforward option would be to be mean to him and refuse to do the quest, but we can't, because this quest is not optional. It's part of the main quest line. But we could always word it in a way that we're mean to him, but we still do it. But there's another option as well. There's going to be a blanket in the inn, folks. Maybe we should do that now. And I was thinking of doing this blanket thing in a future playable build, and not now, originally, because it's an extra feature that's part of a side quest. Well, that's going to potentially affect a side quest, and we're not actually implementing the side quests until after we've done the main quest. So I was going to leave all the detail and little extra parts of the world as a thing I was going to add on after. And most of them I will. That'll be like the last minute job. But with this one in particular, it could be an option to gain or lose affinity with Nigel, potentially. I'm thinking how though, because let's just think. Because this isn't part of the actual dialogue tree, I'm trying to think of how to handle things like loot and in scenes. Maybe I'll just keep it off the dialogue tree and put it here, we'll see. Where I don't know where the blanket would be right now, so I'm not going to get too descriptive. So I'm going to just say you see a blanket in the inn, just for now. We can always get more descriptive when we figure out a place for it. Hi Sangy, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. I was about to say having a good Friday, but it's Monday, isn't it? We're getting all the days of the week. You see a blanket in the inn, and what we could do here, where's our choice stuff? Just put 1 point for now, but we could always raise it to 2 if we feel. I suppose it should be 2 because it's an action. I've always said 1 affinity point if it's a verbal insult, but 2 if it's an action, and 5 if it's a severe action. And 10 if it's an even more severe action. But it's all very much, you know, things like the points could be changed when we do test plays, if we feel it needs balancing, but this is just a starting point. Doing great, how are you? I'm doing good. I like your in real life filter. What do you mean in real life filter? Do you mean my deer outfit? Is that what you mean? Okay. Yeah, it's not a filter, it's real. It's real deer ears. They're cute, aren't they? I'm a real deer, everybody. I'm actually a deer, not a human. Shocker. That's why my name's Rose Reindeer. Oh my goodness, Master Emerald. Quebec Indies bung. Thank you so much for doing that, Master Emerald, and giving me a bit of love, because you can do that, folks, just so you know. I am a humble partner, which means if you find something you like on Humble Bundle, you can use my link and I get a little bit of the revenue as well. Thank you, Master Emerald. Let's have some hype in chat with that. Appreciate your turbans. Okie doke. Now, the other option is to leave the blanket, but that wouldn't give you anything, right? I mean, I don't know if it should be 2 points. For things like looting, I've thought, should it just be 1 point? I guess it depends on what it is you're looting, you know, but it's kind of like, how deep would that system go? Because at this point in time, we don't know. All we know is we need this blanket for a side quest, potentially. So this is an item that's definitely lootable. I am kind of fascinated by the idea of making looting a thing with consequences, but of course in regards to features and game mechanics, I try and not get too carried away with them at this point in time, because that's all stuff that I'd add after we've done the main quest. It's all about getting the main story done first, and any features, any fancy stuff gets put on top once we're happy with how the game runs, if you know what I mean. Otherwise we could end up with a mess of a game, and we want to avoid that. So we'll do the simple stuff first, and complex stuff actually. Is this actually a full-time job, may I ask? It's well, it's like 10 full-time jobs, if that makes sense. Because when you're an indie solo game dev, you're kind of doing like a lot of work. So I see it as 10 full-time jobs, my friend. Okay, when I go to HumbleNet, it's automatically using the same address as your link. Oh really? That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Master Emerald, for thinking of me. Well, I say that, but like it says, it was automatic. But I appreciate it. So I'm just thinking of a position to put this in. Because I don't want to make it part of the main dialogue branch, because it'll get confused and it'll make it seem like it's part of the conversation, which it isn't. It's a separate thing you can do. So yeah, what I think I'll do is this. If you ever go in a room and there's something that's a side thing, then I'll make it, I'll just make a separate bit after and put it at the top, maybe. Like that. But I might change it over time if I feel like it's messy, but it will do for now. Automatic, but so glad it does, because I like to support you. Yeah, thank you so much, Master. It really, really helps a bunch. You guys are the best. In fact, we'll move this across. But yeah, that's one way we can lose affinity with Nigel, but I want to think a little bit more, because he is going to be a romance, a casual romanceable option. He's not going to be an in-depth romanceable option. You can only romance him if you're a male, by the way. But it's because he's confined to Lakefall, so when we move on to other villages in the game and travel the world, the only other chance you get to see him again is if you fast travel back to Lakefall, or walk back to Lakefall. So he's not like a party member or a character who's travelling with you, so in that regard there's not really an opportunity for a full-scale romance development, so it'll just be a very short romance, little casual thing with Nigel if you choose to go there with him. Why? Actually curious why that. One sec. That was a little bit far out and I didn't know why. That's better. All right. Oh no, it's got messed up. Let's do that again. Oh, and that as well. Okay, so I think we're good. I wanted to think about that scene because it's pretty empty compared to the other scenes we've got in the game in regards to content and variables and things like that. But now we've added that as an option, there's something to do at least. But you know, these scenes themselves might still be improved upon even after we've released the first playable build, because for anyone that tests the game, I'll be sending a questionnaire, and there'll be questions such as, you know, character development, who's your favourite character, what did you think the characters were, this and that, and if there's ever any like little inconsistencies or any weird things or any improvements, then this main quest 1 and 2 can still be polished. It's not like we'll be like, that's it now, it's over with, it's finished. Because I'm at the point now where I just want to make the best story that we can and the best characters we can. That's my number one thing about this game. I kind of prioritise the storytelling over anything else. And any other things? Let me look at my notes. So, but we can go a bit deeper with Nigel if we want. We can have the option to be mean to him or nice to him in the end while we're having that conversation with him. If anyone has any ideas, feel free to say. But it's something to consider because we will need to start building affinity with him. Otherwise, the romance might seem a little bit quick. But Nigel's a people pleaser, so I think he'd just be happy that someone likes him. Okay, and the other thing is this. Really important, this actually. This scene with Fiona in the cabin right now needs a good edit. Because at the moment she says, watch out, that creature in the cage is dangerous. And she says, it belongs to me. I called it Violet after a flower I picked. Keeping it here might be a danger to Lakefall. All this is going to be slightly changed after a few discussions with you guys. The first point is that Fiona's meant to hate Violet. That got pointed out by Zexin, which was like a really good point, and so therefore she shouldn't be naming her, and she shouldn't have any affection whatsoever for Violet. So we're going to change it so that Fiona isn't the one that names her, because she doesn't even see her as a human, she sees her as a beast. So names, terms of affection, it's not going to happen. What we're going to do instead is that she already had the name, because she's kind of become a little bit infamous around Lakefall. She's been building a bit of a reputation because she's a fearsome vampire, or so they say, the rumours. That's what it's called, rumours. But Rose, there's a lot more to Rose than people think. She's not actually... There's going to be wanted posters most likely around the town that we'll see as the player before we even meet her. And they'll be around Lakefall or maybe around the forest in a few places. And they're going to make her out to be this like really intimidating, violent, scary criminal person. But a lot of it is propaganda and twisted, and it's fake because there is actually someone who's an imposter pretending to be Rose, so that person is actually responsible for ruining her reputation in a way, and she's a lot more vulnerable and helpless than the poster makes out to be. Rose is actually quite, despite being a vampire, at this stage in the game, she's actually quite weak. She's definitely not fearsome or as violent or scary as I think. So we thought that Fiona instead could say something like, So I'm just trying to think how we can do this, because maybe it's best to edit this dialogue first. What you're doing in here, stay away from that cage. That dialogue's fine. That might not need, but that creature in the cage is dangerous does need to be changed. I'm not sure actually. This box is what definitely needs changing most of all, though, because as it says we're gonna change. So just I think we gotta show that she was easy to capture. The posters we've seen would have, like we say, made her out to be this fearsome danger to society. But Fiona's going to be like, she was so easy to capture, pathetic. I'm trying to think of how to make it flow. Because there's a lot of contradictions. Even if we add that here, that she was easy to capture, there's contradictions throughout the conversation, because she's constantly saying maybe a danger to Lightfall. So the whole thing might need a slight reworking, in all honesty. So I'm going to have a think about that, because sometimes you need to get your head around it, but that's definitely something that needs to be done. So I'm going to actually just keep it how it was, but that's going to be one of the priorities to change. Okay, so the scene. Should we jump straight into it? So yeah, there might be a few little bits and bobs with Rose that need an alter, which I'll be looking into. But we can, but I don't know Rose, my goodness. But if we get this scene done, this main quest 2 scene 5 scene, then we're doing well. the dialogue stuff be almost undusted for main quest 1 and 2 for a bit, and we can move on to doing some scene work from some streams as well. But I do want to like go back into doing having some world building streams and some story streams as well, for thinking of what's ahead and the world in general. Don't want to forget about that either. And some of the majority of scene stuff, it can get quite complex, so I like to do that off stream sometimes as well. But it can be fun to do on stream sometimes too. Alright, so we've already done the outline for it today. We've rambled on today about what's going to happen. So here it is. The battle with the fruits ends. They look vulnerable and you get the choice to spare or kill the fruits. Okay, so here we go. Let's jump straight into doing this scene. So all we've got so far is battle ends. So now we're gonna have the moment we get the choice. So let's just get the choice up first of all. Oh, okay. I want to copy and paste a choice because it's always easier to just copy and paste them rather than just start new boxes. So okay, so we need to refill them in with the new stuff, obviously, and we've already kind of got heat down here. So we've said we will, if we spare them. Okay, let's just fill it in first. So spare. Kill the fruits. Okay, what were the points? We said cowardly and foolish for sparing them and brave and wise for killing them. What about good and evil though? Did we have a reason again why we felt one was good, not the good and evil option? I think it's because it's not as black and what we do here isn't black and white. It's not necessarily good to kill the fruits, but it's not necessarily evil to not kill them either, considering the fruits are villains. So I think it was pretty hard to put this particular choice on the good and evil scale, and that's why we decided to avoid having this option affect the good and evil scale, and we decided to have it affect the other two scales instead. So we'll get those down. So cowardly and foolish. And it was brave. I can never find this wise emoji. It's always hiding from me. There it is. Alright, so I wonder if you know why we've given that of cowardly and foolish for sparing them, because it's what it's going to lead to, you know, like they've already threatened to conquer Lakefall, and you're kind of leaving alive a group of people that have threatened to murder a whole village. So that is pretty foolish and cowardly, and you might not realise it at the time, and because we aren't going to actually have a visible scale, like it's not going to come up saying you've gained these points in game, it's all working behind the scenes. So it's a subtle thing, the morals is, it's not like spare out to you. So that's why this works, because then it's better that the player doesn't know that they're becoming a coward or a fool. They don't actually realise that it's doing that behind the scenes, because it could be seen as negative if you get that. If you know you've got it, should I say. And it's I kind of like the idea of not having a visible scale as well, because it makes it too easy to make a Mary Sue kind of hero, and you know, people are just like, yeah, let's make the brave, wise, good hero, and they just look at their scale and make sure they're super perfect in every single way. So not actually seeing these points behind the scenes, you're actually not really sure what your hero is becoming. You're just going with your gut and your instinct for what the right thing to do is, which makes it more interesting to me. When doing this though, you need to make sure there's not a bias, like if sparing always leads to coward, the game is saying you're wrong to spare them. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking from the perspective of the consequences that are going to happen from doing this, because it's going to lead to potentially disastrous stuff if you do spare them. But I'm not saying that it's all bad. I do believe that for those that did pick this option, there should be some reward somewhere along the way, because otherwise if it's all bad, it's not gonna, people just, if they were to read a guide, well, you know, or they're on stream and they can see what the answers are, for example, then they're gonna just be like, well, I'm not gonna do that option because it's gonna end bad, I'm a coward and I'm a fool and it's gonna end bad. But not necessarily, because I see it as there's not really a bad or a good branch in our game. It's not as black and white as that, as that's the good branch and that's the bad branch. It's more about perspective, and someone else's opinion and perspective could be different to another's on what the good and bad thing to do is. But even say if this one has terrible consequences, they could in another way be good consequences from it down the road, and actually more negative from that. So it's not so, it's more layered. There's a lot of layers to it, and I think with some things it'll be very clear that that's bad, but I still like to I like to make it complicated on purpose rather than it be completely good and bad and just black and white. But yes, we've talked about it quite a bit, like this path, the sparing the fruits, and it's definitely not going to lead to good things. You know, it's going to definitely, but I think the cowardly thing, it sounds harsh. I mean, I was thinking about rewording these because they do sound very negative, but in some ways, a cowardly character can be good because they're not... Brave has negative connotations in a lot of ways. Sometimes brave people are idiots because they're a bunch of Leroy Jenkins that just end up having everything blow up in their faces because from their idiot bravery, right? So it sounds good, it sounds like it's a positive thing, brave, but it can be negative too, and I kind of don't want to make it too black and white with these wordings either. So I was thinking, you know, are we being a little bit with our naming system here? Is evil a bit too severe? Is cowardly a bit too negative? Because really is the opposite of brave, cowardly, but it's not black and white, and I don't think it should be black and white. So if we do think of some words that have less of a negative connotation to them, I would be tempted to rename the system we've got here, because it's true that people will be like, yeah, well, that's the bad option then if I'm getting coward points for doing that. But yeah, I kind of want to avoid giving it a complete negative completely, because it's about perspective, really. I don't want cowardly to be the bad one and fool to be the bad one and brave and wise to be the good one. I think compassionate and foolish is a good blend, and brave isn't really the same as foolish though. Yeah, like I said, even brave, brave can be foolish, right? Because brave people are foolish in a lot of ways. They do things before thinking sometimes, but they're not on the same scale, so it's very likely you can be a brave, foolish and evil person, or a good brave foolish person, or a good brave wise person, because they don't share the same scale. But it shares the same scale with cowardly, and obviously fool and wise do as well, because they're opposites on the scale. And compassionate and foolish is a good blend. Yeah, you can be a good fool, for sure. But yes, the words aren't set in stone that we've got here. But you get what we're going with. We're going with that triad of compassionate, brave, and wise. And the things opposite them are like the opposite of your typical good, brave, and wise, but they don't necessarily have to be negative. I mean, sometimes an evil character's fun to play, but maybe we want to think of a less severe word than evil, something like scoundrel, or how Mass Effect called it. What was that again? A renegade. So something that actually sounds like actually cool and badass rather than like full-on psychopath. That's just a thought, if we didn't want to make it look too negative, the scale, because the character is ignoring the threat. They aren't taking the fruit seriously, or think by being nice they can change others, which leads to villains doing terrible acts because you spared them. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the lesson with this fruit part of the game. A lot of people will be tempted to spare them because they think they're cute and they'll feel bad. And they'll think, oh, it's fine. They're not going to do anything. This is just a random boss in the game. They'll be fine. But it's going to come back to haunt them, and it's going to lead to an outcome where the fruits might be a danger, and you'll be like, oh no, what have I done? But if you killed them, then you wouldn't have had that problem. So at the end of the day, the scene with the fruits is foreshadowed not numerous times that they're a threat, what they want to do. That they want to conquer and murder. So it's like, it's pretty straightforward what it is that they want to do. So the right thing to do, the wise thing to do, would be to kill them. But it doesn't mean it's the easy thing to do. I think killing them's definitely the hard thing to do. And in a way, I mean, do you think that would actually get compassion points? Even though they're evil? Because it was very difficult to give this good and bad points. That's why I avoided doing it and actually haven't give any on that scale, because it's difficult to know what is the good one and what is the bad one. So I thought we'll just give the cowardly and foolish points for this one, or the brave and wise. But it's something to consider. Like we said, with this point system, when we do playthroughs and test plays, we might change our minds and think, actually, it's better balanced if we do it this way and give them those points instead of the cowardly ones. Sometimes it's good. This is like I see as a template that could be altered if we feel that it's better giving a different set of points to. The only two options to kill something or let it run wild, yeah. So, okay. But yeah, feel free to give your thoughts, guys. And sometimes sometimes I look back on the VODs after stream. Well, I usually always look back on the VODs after stream. And I sometimes think about things that have been suggested, and or even if I don't do it instantly, basically, sometimes I decide later and think, yeah, actually we'll do it this way instead. Affinity points, are we gonna gain or lose any affinity points with anyone here? I'm not sure, because the fruits, well, if we spare them, I feel we should gain affinity points, right, with the fruits. That only makes sense, because then when they come back later, they'll be grateful for us. So I guess that's sort of the reward from sparing them. You've got them on side, so they might run wild and they might do some bad things. There'll be bad consequences to keep them alive, but they will like you a bit more. I mean, they're not going to love you because they're still very anti-human at heart, and they don't like humans, so they're definitely not going to be your best friends. But they're going to at least be somewhat grateful, and they might remember that you did spare them when you had a chance to not. So, affinity points. Now, as for killing them, we could easily give negative affinity points, but they'd already be dead, so it kind of wouldn't really matter if we did give negative affinity points. Hi Dark, how you doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate the lurk. How have you been? And is there a way to stop them without killing, kind of like the Batman effect? Well, yes, there is. In a way, basically, to just summarise what's going to happen. The only way, because what the fruits want to do, their evil plan is to conquer Lakefall, right, and kill all the people that live there, which was apparent from the previous scene, and they've kind of explained why they hate the humans and why they want to do it. But basically that's what they want to do, but they can only do it if they have vampire blood. That's the ingredient they need, and the scene before explains that as well. So without Violet, they can't do anything. But the problem is, we talked about this on a previous stream, there's going to be a vampire in the cave where the reptiles live. There's going to be a vampire locked away somewhere, and you have the option to free that vampire and let them out into the open. But the problem is, if that vampire's left running free, the fruits will find that vampire and use that vampire's blood for their plan. So they will do that what they want to do, conquer Lightfall, if you let that vampire free. But if you don't let that vampire free, they won't be able to, because they won't have that special ingredient. So there definitely is a path, a branch, where you can spare the fruits, but they don't have the power or the ability to conquer Lakefall at the end of the game, so because they didn't find that vampire. But if they do find the vampire, you're in trouble. So yes, and I think that's kind of more interesting then, because it's not, there's little intricacies, isn't there, to the outcomes. Like, you can still do that, but avoid the horrible ending where they conquer Lightfall. But I say the horrible ending where they conquer Lightfall, but I kind of want in some way make there be a payoff as well to that ending, because otherwise people would just be deeply depressed and disappointed. But even though it is probably the worst ending, because people will die and more people, if the fruits conquer, there's going to be some payoffs. Like, the fruits will be living in Lakefall, and Lemon will run the blacksmith shop, Plum will run the inn, and you can buy stuff from them, and they'll be the NPCs that are living in Lightfall, and it'll be very charming and silly. and the whole scenario with the fruits populating like full is kind of funny and rewarding in itself in a way. And there could be a potential side quest there down the road as well that you can only get if the fruits did live there. So although it was horrible and they killed the humans to get there, there's some reward there. It's not all terrible. So that's kind of the goal. And I hope you've been doing well, and I hope you are too. See you in the festive spirits, and hope you are ready. Yes, I'm a rose reindeer today, indeed. So here is the choice. Now, one thing we said in our outline, let's cross that one off, we don't need that one today. They look vulnerable, and should the fruit say something before the choice pops up, do any of them plead for their life? Maybe Plum uses the fact that it's Blueberry's birthday to guilt trip you. Ideally, we want the choice to be difficult, and we don't want the player being like, oh yeah, let's just kill these fruits, who cares about these? We want the player to play, I actually feel a bit bad about killing these fruits, so that's kind of what we're going to try and do. So let's copy and paste Plum's dialogue box. Plum's the one that came to mind for being the one that guilt trips us, because I say guilt trip's a horrible thing to do, in all honesty, but he's pleading for his life, who wouldn't at a time like this when they're about to be murdered. So, I'm up for suggestions with what a really sad dialogue could be with the fruits when they know they're about to meet their end, and something really tragic that's going to make you think, oh no, that's really sad. Do I really want to kill them? Like, if anyone has any ideas, feel free to throw them at me, because what I'm about to come up with it's just one of potentially many ideas. We've got other characters too. We've got lemon, blueberry, tomato, and apple, and they've got their personalities. Lemon's very stoic, tomato is very aggressive and typical emo teenager, blueberry's innocent and oblivious to what's going on, so it kind of fit Plum as the wise wizardly type. Kind of felt like he's a little bit more emotionally open than the other fruits, perhaps. He already showed signs of fearing something happening to them, so he seems to be the one that might plead for their life most. So, but who knows? We could always have it as a variable that it's a different fruit that says something, depending on how the battle went, if we wanted to, depending on the last fruit we killed, for example, or something. But if we want to keep it simple, we could just have it be the same fruit all the time. So something like, what did we say? Maybe Plum uses the fact that it's Blueberry's birthday to guilt trip you, so... Blueberry is Blueberry's birthday. So that's just the first thing that sprung to my mind. It's our first draft. So feel free to give thoughts. If we end up with a few ideas, I can always make a list. This is like a basic first draft as something really sad. I feel like this could potentially be expanded, because imagine you being in this position, you're about to get killed, you're gonna have a lot to say, you'll be like, please no, it's this, and you'll probably reel off a few reasons why you shouldn't die. So I do feel like we could potentially go a bit further with this and have him plead a bit more. And what program are you currently using? This is Draw.io. Dark. It's also called app.diagrams.net now as well. It's got 2 names. But this is what I use to plan out all the dialogue scenes. Because I personally don't like to jump into the game engine and just do the dialogue in there. I like to draft it out on here first. Especially because this is a game with branching paths. It's just a lot easier to organise doing it like this. If it was a linear game, it probably would be pretty straightforward to just do straight into the engine editor, but this way I can see everything, and it doesn't get too overwhelming that way if we plan first. Nice, thank you, you're welcome. So please, no, it's blueberries. I think we should have a few more stutters perhaps, because I guess I'm trying to get into the head of this fruit and what must be going through their mind. So it's Blueberry's birthday. They probably had a lot of things planned for Blueberry. They don't want to die. So I think we could add another set to Played maybe, but we'll think about it. I'll have a think about it off stream as well tonight, but we'll keep it like that for now. I am going to put in brackets, expand on this, more pleading perhaps. I feel like the Blueberry birthday thing was a good one to go on as a way to persuade, but there could be others that I haven't even uncovered myself. But I think we can do better with what's just there. We can push that pleading a bit further perhaps. So then we get the choice. I think we can delete the fruit section. We can just have kill or spare, because I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you have to do the scene and see what looks best. We'll keep it as that, just for now. But if I feel like it's unnecessary, we can get rid of it. Because some players might be like, spare what? Kill what? So sometimes you have to state the obvious. And then that's where the scene changes and branches at this point. It goes differently, but it'll lead to the same thing again. It's only going to be a short sequence, so the only difference is they'll go back in their basket, jump off the cliff using their basket as a boat, and shout something like, "You've not seen the last of us if you spare them." But if you kill them, you'll use their weapon to completely squish them, and then they're dead. Nothing but mush on the forest floor. Tragic. So that's all happening. That'll probably all take place in less than a minute, each of those different scenes, depending on which one you pick. And then it'll all come back to the same, like, linear conversation again after that, and which will be, where are we? Here. So we'll be having a conversation with Carol. We're going to tell Carol off. We're going to make her question herself, how she's been talking to us. We're going to tell her that Fleshbag's hurtful, and we're going to make her sort of like give her an opportunity to become a nicer person. Oracle, thank you so much for the 200 biddies. Happy winter, hope you're well. Glad to catch you. Oh, thank you. Let's have some hype in chat for those biddies. I appreciate that. How have you been, Oracle? It's good to see you. Yay. I hope you're doing well. And looking forward to Christmas. Thank you so much for the biddies. Okay, so we are running out of time, folks, even though I don't want to go. I want to finish stream because I'm having fun. Never want to finish stream. But I am very much going to try to stream on Wednesday, and that will be my last stream before Christmas. So Wednesday the 23rd, and then I'll be off on Christmas Day. But then I'll be back again on the Monday the 28th. So on Wednesday we can finish the rest of this scene. I'm really glad we've done an outline. Pardon me. I'm glad we've done an outline because it'll make doing the dialogue tree much easier, having this to follow than if we were completely blank. I think this is the method I'm going to do every time we're about to write up a scene. We'll do it this way, get our thoughts and list step by step what needs to happen in the scene, and then we jump into getting the trees out, and then it's all ready to do as a scene once that's done. Because it worked really well for main quest 1 scene 3 when we did it worked really well, having a numbered outline to follow. Kept things very ordered and running smoothly. Thank you for streaming. Sorry I couldn't chat as much today. Work seems to want to get things done before Christmas holiday. No worries, Van. It means a world to me that you come at each stream and hang out, whether you lurk or whether you chat. Work can be a butt face, but you know. And even if you guys, if you're not able to chat in stream, but you were listening in, and you feel free to throw stuff in the ideas discussion channel or on the Discord or whatever, you know, if anything. Because when it comes to this game, it doesn't have to stop when we're not live, you know. We can still have the discussion about it on Discord. So, okay, we'll be carrying on with this on Wednesday. So Lonka says there's still a little bit of tidying up to do with the previous scenes, particularly this scene with Fiona in the cabin needs a slight change. I want to keep it as it is. I like how the scene all unfolds, but and the choices that we have here are pretty good, but some of the dialogue wording does need to change so that it fits with Violet's character development better now that we've updated her as a character. Because what we got to realise is this scene was written really early on. This scene was written in September last year. It was one of the first it was the first scene we ever did, ever. In fact, I think it was both this lake scene and the cabin scene were 2 of the first scenes we ever did in the game. So there's a lot that has been changed and developed over the months. So they definitely could do with a slight rehaul. These 2 scenes were written pretty early on as well, but we did do a rehaul of those 2 already. But these 2 scenes were ones that we didn't redo. But the foundation's there with them. It's just about making them make sense and be consistent and be as intriguing and awesome as possible. That's really the goal. But yes, we'll think about this scene. If we do get some really good lines for the pleading with the fruits, we can chat about that more on Wednesday. But the main thing is I'd really like to get the scene done on Wednesday and get the dialogue tree up, because then we can say dialogue is like basically done and it'll just be tidying up from that point on. And January is going to be about getting all the scenes implemented, and I'd really like to start thinking about implementing battles as well eventually. But I'm not going to rush myself because, as you know, I am moving house early next year, January or February, not sure when. So because of that, you know, in regards to the first playable build, it might be pushed back a little by a few weeks because of the move. But we're getting there and we're making progress. And I think it's been really cool that we've just really spent time thinking of main quest 1 and 2 and its quality and quality of storytelling, because that's really the main thing, that the story's good. So we are just waiting to get the approval of my new job start date. Oh, cool. Well, guys, let me if we don't speak until after Christmas, I hope you have a good one. But I will be streaming one more time, all going well, before Christmas. So Wednesday I'll be streaming next unless something pops up that's an emergency and I have to deal with it's Christmas related. I'll be streaming more than likely. Okay, folks. I will be taking these reindeer ears off though, because they definitely hurt after they've been on your head for a while. Okay. Oh my god, how is it? Okay, my dinner's ready now, but I'm not surprised because it is a bit late. I have streamed a little bit over time, so I'm gonna head straight off today, everybody. But see you on Wednesday. Merry Christmas, everybody. Take care, and I don't know what I'm saying it yet because we've still got a few days, but it's in case I don't see you on Wednesday. So take care and see you then. Have a good one. Appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out.